This week's talking point, big weights in matches. So, over the last few weeks, the last year or two, we've seen some absolutely monstrous weights in matches. To name but a few, Boddington Reservoir, there's been a £600 plus. I think you're going there on Thursday. Angel of the North Fishery, there was this weekend £540 one. There was 8 weights over £200. It's a common theme around the country.
Even that
weights.
Aaron's Lake with £1,000.
Yeah, so they have multiple weigh-ins. Common theme around the country. Weights are getting bigger and bigger. The fish are getting bigger. When's it going to be too much? When's it?
I think it's already got to that stage, Jake. To be honest, I personally think so. I think it's got. And do you know the biggest problem with bigger weights? Don't take this in the wrong way, but I think for the average guy, he cannot catch those weights.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of people out of the equation.
Yeah.
Personally, maybe if they're not big, if they're big fish, it might be a little bit different. But if you're catching lots of smaller fish, I think
it puts a lot of people
off as well.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said earlier, that Maver match, this match you spoke about, £90 odd. Really, with them size fish, I think a lot of people would have had a chance there.
Yeah,
keeps it interesting.
I'm not sure about where do you go with it. I think if I was a fishery owner catching those amount of fish, I'd be absolutely crapping myself. I think in the following day I'm going to get up and they're all going to be on the top.
Yeah.
When you're talking them weights, I don't know really. I'm not sure. I think it's. I go to Todburn Manor at the moment. And there's £340. That's a lot of fish there.
Yeah. You're
probably talking 200 fish.
Yeah.
The average size in some of them lakes are probably £2, £2.5. It's a lot of bites. It's fantastic fishing, but I'd be worried if I was a fishery owner. Very worried.
I suppose it opens it up as well on. If you've got £50, £60 net limits, you've got issues with either supplying the nets to anglers if it's fishery-owned nets, or you've got suddenly expecting anglers to be bringing down.
Yeah, it puts a lot of people off. My brother cannot handle it. He can't handle it. He can't literally function fishing and thinking about what you're doing. Because that's some of the venues now. You're actually not just thinking about what you're doing there. You actually got to think about so spot on what you're doing here. One, because it could end up costing you winning your section or winning the match or framing in the match because you've got that slightly wrong. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. It's hard enough for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got my little clicker going and all this. I don't know. I think if you start going to like 300, 400, 500, some of the weights you spoke about,
it's ridiculous.
And the problem is you're going to that venue knowing that you've got to catch that weight to win. That for me personally, some of them weights you just spoke about, it probably put me off.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one thing that I've noticed is everyone's so spoiled. Everyone's. If a venue's getting one with £100, it's not great, is it? Or the backup weight's £60 to £80. Well, that's not fished well, has it?
No, we are spoiled. When I used to go, on venues all over the place in cats like Moorlands, I'll take you back to Moorlands when I first started my commercial fishing. £120, £130 was probably the winning weights, but there was lots of weights like £50 to £80 behind it. It was really close. And I was like, if I'd have gone down that edge sort of 40 minutes earlier, I could have, but when it starts to get free to 400, blimey.
You're miles behind before you've started.
Yeah, you catch £150, you're not even in it.
No. I think Alders Farm back in the day, because obviously that was a venue that's kind of took half the stock out on the lakes, because that was getting to like £400 or £500, I think it was in some of the matches. But I think that was a prime example where it was getting to people just having to scale up the gear, and it was just down to who was prepared to use the heaviest gear, and it was almost just wasn't who could get the most bites, it was who could land them quickest, which it's not nice fishing. No one comes away from a day like that thinking, I
think there's a group of people I think you've got people that go to those venues and try and do that. You've obviously got, otherwise the actual fishery wouldn't survive, would it?
No, exactly.
So there is people like myself. Sometimes I think, oh yeah, I want to go and catch some great big fish. You know, I'll go to Viaduct, for instance, and try and catch some great big units. You know, because it's different. And I think at the moment, I've obviously got a bit of a thing for Todber.
Yeah.
But I've also got a little thing for Ivy House on their new lake, because there's lots of small carp in F1s. So you've got people that want to pick and choose what they want to do because they're good at it, or they think they can compete at it. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, some of them weights are crazy,
so the
aren't they?
thing at Boddington is that the fish are massive.
And it's a big water.
It's massive. Yeah, they stocked it years and years and years ago with lots of little tiny carp. And the water quality, for whatever reason, they've just survived. They've just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And now the average sort of £9-10.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at massive weights,
£400 is 40 carp, maybe 45 carp.
Which
it's
isn't
not a lot of weight.
Yeah, so say
a lot of fish, is it
eight
really?
fish an hour, something like that. They have an 8 fish per keep net rule.
Well, that's a great rule.
Yeah.
That's a great rule. I mean, that's one of the rules that I think some fisheries should take up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention some names, but I think what they do there with a net rule, as in fish numbers rather than weight, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, they can't get that clicking right. Even I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's probably easier with big carp, admittedly.
When
but
you catch mixed size.
But that rule is brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, I think that rule should be that's a great rule.
Yeah, so they do that, and it just means that they can the fish aren't getting crammed.
Well, if you think you need 5 keep nets, basically, probably 6.
Yeah.
Which is a lot anyway.
which is a
lot of keep nets, admittedly. But at least then you can just, you can just.
Eight.
You just chuck a pellet in a container. Steve Shaw done that next to me, actually. I thought it was quite a good idea, actually. Done it next to me at Stafford Moor on the final on Sunday. I said, how many fish you got? He said, well, count them pellets in that 1 point bait tub. He just chucks like a 10mm pellet.
So until you start feeding it.
Yeah, but it's good, isn't it? You know, if he knows they're £7 average, he knows how many to put in the net.
Yeah.
So
I think, to be fair, Angel of the North, actually, I was having a look on their website last night, and one of the rules they do, it sounds like there is quite a few big carp in there, and any carp that's over the length of your keep net on the
length
top,
of your keep net,
the length of the top
the
width.
Whatever.
The
length. If it's a 3 metre keep net,
3 metre carp. Anything over that size, you've got to have 2 landing nets set up. You keep that, and someone comes and weighs them in separately as and when. So
I've got my own opinions about weighing other fishing.
I think next door catches you saying.
Yeah, I'm not. I've done it years ago at Violet. I'd actually the rule there was, I think it was double figures, and you had to go and weigh it in yourself.
Yeah.
And you're walking, you're down the edge fishing, someone walks past you, and you're like, I might hang on a minute.
Yeah.
And I remember weighing a fish, he'd let it go, and the guy next door to me foul hooked it. And he didn't fight, because obviously it had gone through the fighting stage when I was playing it.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's my opinion, you know.
I suppose it's a hard one, isn't
I know
it?
it's we're all trying to look after the fish. You know, but that rule at Boddington's is probably the rule that I think a lot of venues with big fishing should take on.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Rather than a weight limit.
Yeah, I suppose at Viaduct some of the times it can be 2 fish to a net almost, can't it? If it's
and it's
50
gutter. I
pounds.
mean, lucky for me, a few years back, it was like the winners. I can't remember what match it was. It was like £1,000 for the winner, and the guy made a mistake with his keep net. He's obviously catching really well on Kerry Lake. He's got up to his net limit, or what he thought was his net limit. He's put another net in, and what he didn't realise, he started putting the fish back in the net that he just filled up. And obviously the rule is, if you go over a certain amount, you lose the whole net. And it cost him winning it. Yeah. You know, that bloke must have been absolute. I was like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I just won £1,000.
Yeah.
But for him, he's come nowhere.
Yeah.
And I thought,
especially in qualifiers,
I'd be devastated.
You know, you'd feel awkward as well if you qualified for fish show by someone going a couple of pound over in a net or something. Which it
happens.
And I don't know, I know you've got to have that cut-off point, but it just makes it
horrible.
I think
I said that with big fish, that is a really good rule.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you kind of know where you stand. It's not trying to estimate any weight or anything like that. Where it's not.
It always brings up a lot of discussions, doesn't it? Weight limits, always, and it is very difficult.
Yeah.
Todd Bird, where I'm going at the moment quite a lot, is very difficult because you can catch one which is £1. The next fish can be £4, then it can be £2.5. Well, I ain't got a half thing on me. I haven't got a half thing on me clicker. I got to go. If I catch another £2.5 pounder, I've got to put another pound on.
One on. Yeah, you've got to keep remembering all that.
Fly's been nailed.
Good.
It's a terrible day.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, there's opinions. Everybody's got their own opinion about massive weights.
Yeah.
And
well, in your opinion, it's getting a bit out of hand with some venues.
I think it's getting a bit silly.
Yeah.
I think it's very,
Yeah, see, I understand that obviously places like Viaduct, the weights are like, they're big, but they're big fish. So it's not a silly amount
loads
of fish. And Viaduct's an absolutely brilliant venue. Yeah, you're not needing silly amounts of fish. There is the weight limit, so they're not putting silly amounts of fish in one net. It might be 3 fish, 4 fish, and you've reached your net limit there.
But that's where I think a fish count is better.
Yeah.
6 fish, 7 fish.
Yeah.
And then you move on to your next net. I think that's a real good way of doing it.
Yeah.
As a fishery owner, I suppose it's making sure you've got, when you're being weighed in, you've got unhooking mats, you've got stuff like that.
But if you had a fishery owner in this seat, he'd have his say, wouldn't he? He'd be saying, well, hang on a minute, it's my fish. I want them looked after. And
because that's you've got a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying about Viaduct there. They've got the weight limit in a net, and that's their choice. He understands that his fish are big there. He's a brilliant owner of a fishery. He runs his matches really well. He decides that's what he wants to do. A weight limit, and he probably realises
destroys your gear as well. Imagine some of these weights they're catching. It must destroy their gear on the
pole.
If you're
doing it week in, week
they're
out.
Elastics. Not being funny. One day out of it, it's finished. It wrecks your gear.
Yeah.
Down Stafford Moor, just catching like a couple £100, which is a big weight in my eyes anyway. When you're catching them fighting fish like that, you look at your elastic, you've got to take a couple of inches off after that. They've destroyed it because you're all fishing with puller bungs now, and you're bottoming the elastic out. That's what destroys your elastic.
Especially in this heat and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
you get the heat and
quid of elastic every time.
Wrecks your gear. So very, very crazy weights.
So what's the ideal weight? If you were going to a venue knowing, I've got to catch about this weight to win, what's your ideal? Is it around that?
I don't know now because it's changed. I think everybody's attitude's changed because all these weights have messed it up now.
Yeah.
The ideal weight now, I think 150 to 180 pound, I would say.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that
of mixed size fish, 2 to 6 pound. That was
you're always going to get some
carp.
bigger weights because obviously certain times of year they're in certain corners or they're you're mugging them. That's where the big weights are caught a lot of the time is where they're in the sun somewhere and everybody's just
early on in the season where there's not been
they're all great big
death.
units. They've not been caught a bit through the winter and they're up for it. But personally up to sort of £200 I would say that's pretty big anyway.
It's a lot of fish, isn't it? Everyone gets a bit blasé over it now that there's that many weights, but to sit and catch £250, it's a hell of a lot of fish.
That's what I mean. Like I think people have got spoilt with it. The what in the past 80 to £120 was always like love it. If you can hit that £100 mark, brilliant days fishing. Now I think people have got a bit spoiled.
The weather's been a good, the weather. We've had the good summer already this year, and I think that makes a big difference to the fishing as well. The fish have settled. The weather's been settled, and if we'd have had an absolute load of rubbish this summer, I think the weights might not have been so consistent. At the moment, it's every week. You see the weights, like blimey, everybody's loads of £300 weights plus.
People not even framing with like £250.
I know. They're going home thinking I've had a great day. But I'm like, I'm £150 off of any good.
Yeah.
Difficult one to answer, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Difficult.
Leave it there.
Leave it there.